Okay, so I'm now on the air, and I'm going to make sure this actually went out on the twatter before I actually start talking about this. If you haven't heard, Count Dankula, who is a YouTuber who I think 2 years ago, maybe even longer than that, made a video trolling his girlfriend where he trained his dog to raise his paw when he said the phrase "gas the Jews" and taught him to react positively, like in a joking sense, towards Hitler videos. Just a joke to troll his girlfriend. That's basically what he was doing. And the consequence of him doing that has been being dragged around for 2 fucking years in the Scottish court system, the Scottish judicial system, just dragging him for 2 years straight into the courtroom to be lectured by a judge who never really said what his crime was, as far as I can tell, but just basically was virtue signaling endlessly. That appears to be, based on what I've seen of what Dankula has said and what witnesses have seen, that all the judge did the whole time was virtue signal. Like, just spoke on end and ran out the clock at numerous days. And the conclusion of this, which was just done earlier today, a few hours earlier today, the conclusion of this was that Dankula was convicted of being grossly offensive, which to me sounds fucking retarded. That's not a crime. It's not a crime to be grossly offensive. But apparently in Scotland it is. And I have to tell you that this, to me, says a lot about the priorities of not just the UK, and that includes Scotland, obviously, but Europe. I mean, I'm not really sure what to say when your entire nation is basically being subsumed by Islam and your priorities are convicting like online comedians, YouTube shit posters of being grossly offensive, convicting them. And this sentence could carry, as far as I can tell, the estimations are between 1 to 2 years of jail. That's possibly what Dankula's facing as the result of this conviction. This is lunacy. And it's amazing to me how many people in Europe rag on the United States. See the United States as like a living reality show, just a joke, idiotic, filled with stupid, oafish people. And you're fucking over there convicting people of jokes while Islam is taking over your nations. Europe is the joke. You have no values. You have no values. I know that you love to say, oh, we inspired the United States. Well, you abandoned your principles. You abandoned your values. You don't hold to any of the liberal values you fucking claim to. You don't. You are a collection of illiberal nations that are losing in a fucking fight to Islam. You are becoming colonized by Islam, and in the process convicting comedians of shit posts on fucking YouTube. Europe is a fucking series of nations that are increasingly so ridiculous that you couldn't even satirize them. It's unbelievable to me that this is what is occurring right now. And what's amazing about this conviction today is the judge yet again fucked with Dankula by saying that he's not actually going to give him the sentence today. Instead, Dankula has to come back in mid-April and once again get lectured and have the judge virtue signal and all the rest before they even pass a sentence. You know, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. I can't believe what's currently going on in Europe. If you are in Europe, your priorities are so fucked. And I know that people want to say, well, I'm not for this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, I'm not really sure what you're doing. I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe that this was the end. And I watched it in real time. I watched Tommy Robinson leave the courtroom, come outside, and say to everyone in the live stream that he had been convicted and said that the sentence, or not the sentence, but the conviction, the actual charge, was gross offense. That is what he was convicted for a shit post on YouTube of his fucking dog. A joke. It's incredible. It's something that to me is beyond belief. I can't understand in what kind of nation. And somebody said, I saw it already. Somebody said that like this is a dark day. This is a stain for the whole of Europe and especially Scotland and the UK. And I agree. This is unbelievable. You guys are sending people to prison for fucking jokes. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what's happening now. I mean, I'm surprised they don't have his dog Buddha. I'm surprised they're not euthanizing him for participating in a fucking joke. You know, it's like I said, it's shocking. I thought the opposite. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect him to actually be convicted. I thought this was just going to be kicked out of court. This was going to be let go. You know, I didn't think that it would progress so far that he would actually be convicted of making a joke. Because I couldn't imagine that would actually be possible. But apparently in Scotland it is. And I don't think that this is something that is outside the realm of possibility in the UK. You know, I really don't think so. But yeah, I really think that this says a lot about the priorities of Europe. It really does. You guys aren't really taking what's happening in your nation seriously. It's unbelievable. Well, I'll message him. I don't think he's available. Somebody said get Sargon on. I only have so much time too. I have another case I gotta get to, but I sent a message over Skype to Sargon. I think he's not available at the moment because otherwise he'd be streaming himself. But I'll see what he says. But yeah, I can't believe that this is what happened. I can't fucking believe it. And and somebody said also on Twitter that this marks Scotland as a totalitarian regime, and I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree that this is a mark of a totalitarian nation. I mean, this is the kind of shit you'd expect China or North Korea to do, or Cuba. Convicting somebody for a fucking joke. Okay? We're not talking about, somebody who's an actual neo-Nazi getting convicted of a hate crime or it's hate speech, okay? We're talking about somebody whose joke was at the expense of himself, his dog, his girlfriend's anger, and anyone taking Nazism seriously. That's the joke. And yet Scotland, regardless of the context, is convicting a man for that, for a joke at the expense of his girlfriend's anger. It's incredible. This is something that a third world communist country would do. And I'm not even, people can say whatever. I've had people on Twitter saying that I'm being somewhat hyperbolic. How is this hyperbole when you are convicting people for fucking jokes? That is so draconian and ridiculous that one would expect it from a ridiculous nation like North Korea. It's unbelievable. So yeah, okay, so Sargon's messaging me saying he can't. So yeah, unfortunately Sargon's too busy to come on. He's probably going to stream later about this. I imagine he will, because this is a massive thing that has occurred. It's unbelievable. Apparently Styx just uploaded a video on it. Yeah, I can imagine there's going to be a lot of people talking about this, because it's something that one would imagine is impossible, but is currently happening. This is not, somebody shitposting on YouTube in their own right. This is not somebody creating a joke at the expense of Europe. No, this is something that's actually occurring at the moment. And it's pretty fucking unbelievable. He's telling me currently to spam at Police Scotland, which is a Twitter handle apparently for the Scottish police. I can't really think of any offensive jokes at the moment, but yeah, shame on the Scottish police for taking jokes on YouTube more seriously than terrorism in their own nation. They can virtue signal all they want about how they're taking things seriously. This is what you're doing with your courts. You're not convicting fucking pedophiles and Muslim rape gangs. You're not bothering with that shit. You're too busy convicting people who are making videos on YouTube with their dogs. It's pretty unbelievable. Apparently, he says, take a look at the banner. Be greater than a hater. Yeah, it's pretty fucking cringy. I'll link this in the chat just so you guys can see what's being referenced. But yeah, he's apparently too busy. Otherwise, he'd do something. I'm not sure what he's up to. Maybe he's working on a video for this. But yeah, I mean, I can imagine people saying that Canada's not far off from this based on their current trans legislation. And that's true. They're probably not far off. But the status quo in Scotland is convicting people of being grossly offensive. Oh, yeah, the link doesn't work. Why is that? It worked for me. It's literally the link. I'm not sure why. Yeah, it's literally the link. I'm not sure why it isn't working. Because that is literally the URL to this account. Sorry, I don't really know why it's not working. But yeah, I don't know the name of the judge. I imagine now people are going to rip into the actual case file of what's happening with it. Because like I said, I did not expect this to actually reach the point where it is now. I expected this to get thrown out. I expected the judge to virtue signal and then eventually in the end just basically say get the fuck out of here or fine him. You know what I mean? Do something like that. Fine him for public something and then he walks away and we basically crowdfund the bill. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it would have been done in half a second. Apparently Sargon is sending me a page to what is a hate crime based on the Scottish police. And it says, definition, crime motivated by malice or ill will towards a social group by race, sexual orientation, religion/faith, disability, transgender/gender identity, according to the Aggrieved Prejudice Act of 2010. Hate crimes are abhorrent and target marginalized and vulnerable members of our communities with devastating effect on both victims and their families. Police Scotland is committing to making as easy as possible for victims to report hate crime. We have identified hate crime as a high priority under the classification of violence, disorder, and antisocial behavior, and continue to place a high priority on such crime with the aim of increasing the confidence of victims to report hate crimes and incidents, adopting a multi-agency response to dealing with hate crime, increasing action against perpetrators through intelligence-led proactive policing and robust enforcement. We continually review incidents and crimes to identify current and new trends and target our resources accordingly. Who exactly in Scotland is there I don't even as far as I understand, Scotland is a pretty homogenous nation. So, of all the nations to have all these sort of hate crime laws and all this bullshit, we report cyber crime and all this dumb shit. Why Scotland? I don't understand. This just seems like needless law enforcement bureaucracy that's just searching for a fucking crime to somehow arrest somebody for. It really is ridiculous. Somebody asked in chat, is political asylum still an option? I and several other people have forwarded that idea to to Dankula. I even said it on a stream that he was doing with his girlfriend. Like, are you willing to go to the United States as basically an asylum seeker because you are in effect a political prisoner of your own nation? And he said no. He said no matter what the outcome is that he's not going to leave. I'm saying Scotland specifically. England is not necessarily a homogenous nation. It is, if I remember correctly, more white than the United States. But if I recall, Scotland's even whiter than England. So I'm not really sure what you're talking about there, bro. Just because there's a lot of muzzies, as you would say, in fucking London, doesn't mean really shit in terms of being a fucking diverse nation. And somebody asked if anyone actually complained about this. No. There are no complaints that were filed against Dank for that video. As far as I can tell, there weren't even like Jewish organizations complaining about it. So considering that that's supposed to be what it was, he was guilty of making an anti-Semitic joke, there weren't, there weren't any Jews trying to go after him for that joke. This was literally the government itself seeking out people to convict or prosecute and have now convicted of being literally offensive. That, again, like, that is what he's guilty of. Yeah, Sargon saying that this linked page to the Scotland police and what they consider to be a hate crime, it is just like left-wing ideological nonsense. And Sargon is now saying proactive policing. Proactive policing? Go through the terminology on the page. I just did. Where's proactive policing? Yeah, I'm not seeing where he's saying proactive policing. I don't see that. But yeah, I mean, it is just, even if it isn't on this page, it is actively what they're doing. They are seeking out actual crime. They're not existing to pursue crimes that are being reported to them. They were literally looking for crimes. It's really ridiculous. It seems to me as though that this is a total waste of law enforcement time. But the problem is, and I've said this to Sargon and many others, that the European police, and that includes all the police in the UK, they are like the polar opposite of the United States police. The policing in the United States is in many ways aggressive, and police are typically more assertive and aggressive than others you would see, and they can at times be a little bit too illiberal and ridiculous. But what they're looking for are people, trafficking drugs, trafficking arms, in the process of committing a crime. Police in the United States are actively looking for people that are in the process of committing crimes or have convicted a crime and they have a warrant out for them. They're looking for they're looking for serious criminals. And in the UK, it seems as though that they're trying to avoid serious crimes such as murder, rape, and all those things, and they're actively looking to pursue hate crimes. That appears to be what is the priority in Europe right now, and especially in the UK. You're trying to oppress people like Tommy Robinson. You're trying to actively oppress people like Count Dankula. You're looking for people to oppress. You're not actually looking for people that are in the process or have committed serious crimes. Because as we've seen in the UK, there's been endless cover-ups of serious crimes. They're not covering up so-called hate crimes. They're pursuing hate crimes and seeking them out, going as far as to find videos on YouTube to pursue people and prosecute them. That's what their priority is at the moment. And it's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable to me that in the United States right now, we have cops that are a little bit too trigger happy. And in Europe right now, your police are focusing on thought crimes. All right, I got somebody saying that I should read the super chats. Fine. It's time for this is from Xylon. It looks like Zyklon, but it's not. It's time for the people of the UK to rise up. Yes, I agree. I don't think they will. I think you guys are pretty much cucked to progressives and Islam. So I don't really expect much out of you guys. Sorry. Will says, this dank thing is insane, genuinely scary. Also, you need to start streaming around my schedule. That's too bad, Will. This is just me home in the middle of, 2 cases. And Taboo says, mate, reason why Scotland is doing this is because it has a far-left nationalist party in power. Research the SNP. I am aware of who the SNP are. Most Scots are hardcore Marxists. Well, you need to get past this a little bit. And if that's the case, you need to get out of Scotland. If there's too many fucking Marxists in your country, you need to get out. Because you live in a totalitarian shithole that may as well... I mean, like I said on Twitter, you may as well be owned by Islam. You're already totalitarian. Why not? What's the difference at this fucking point? You're not pursuing fucking Muslims as they commit crimes. You might as well install fucking an Islamic government in Scotland. What's the difference at this point? What values do you still hold to that are even considered liberal or Western? What values do you hold to? Explain to me. Someone who's Scottish, send in a super chat, send me something in chat that I can see. Tell me what your fucking values are. Because liberty doesn't seem to be one of them. Catering to Islamists and fucking SJWs. That appears to be what your priorities are and what your values are. Seeking out hate crimes on fucking YouTube. Somebody says, I've never been more proud to be an American. Well, that's what I said on Twitter. I said that the founding fathers are the greatest people of the previous century, and I still hold to that. The founding fathers did what was right when they were alive. They overthrew a tyrannical, despotic, ridiculous, backwards country and created the greatest nation on the face of this earth. And I still hold to that. And I think, I'm sorry that I have to do like the nationalist, chest beating shit, but it's true. Like, today is a great day to live in a nation with a First Amendment, or the First Amendment, but with an amendment to our Constitution ensuring our right to free speech. Because apparently that's what you need in order not to be convicted of making a fucking joke. It's incredible. It's incredible to me that that liberal Europe, so-called, is convicting people of insulting literally nobody. They're seeking out YouTube videos where the person offended was the dog owner. Dank's fucking girlfriend was the one that was offended. And obviously she's not on board with him being sent to fucking jail for possibly 1 to 2 years. Because her dog was in the same frame as a Hitler speech. I have to say this to my European listeners. Now is the time. Number one priority, even with Islam and Muslims and all that shit, your number one priority at this point should be creating your own version of the First Amendment and having that put into your founding documents. With the UK, or I guess specifically more with England, it's harder in that case because you don't actually have a written constitution. But you really do need to do something in terms of changing the laws to get something equivalent to the First Amendment to protect your speech so that you too aren't convicted and sent to fucking prison for making a joke at the expense of your dog, yourself, and Nazis, actual Nazis. The joke is at their expense as well. It's unbelievable. And it's, like I said, it says a lot about your actual priorities. It really does. Yeah. I think was there another super chat popped up? Oh, it's pronounced Ziklinson. And fortunately, I live in the U.S. Well, thank God, we both do, man. Because holy shit, a fucking black cloud is taking over. It's overcast in the UK right now. It's unbelievable. No one reported him, Rowan. No one reported him. The police actively sought it out. No one reported him. There were no complaints filed. That was something that came out of the case. It was literally the police seeking out the crime to convict him for. So yeah, if you live in the United States right now, it's not like a proud moment, but be happy that we have the First Amendment. Feel happy that we have this, because it's the kind of protection that I'm glad we do have, because holy shit, is it scary that, this is something that Western nations are actively pursuing. Not at the, request of the public. No one in the public requested this. They're literally just doing it. No, they don't. They're Dalvord, or whatever your name is. They don't actually have this in writing. They don't have these rights. They don't have this written. They don't have a First Amendment. You're wrong. I have yet to hear a statement. I know Sargon put up a video in response to this, but he issued some kind of response, but I don't know what he has planned. I imagine he said already if it's a fine or something like that, then he will create a or support some kind of Kickstarter or whatever it would be called to have the fine paid. Yeah, I know the UK doesn't have a constitution. There is no First Amendment. There is no constitution in the UK. You have unwritten constitution. But I'm not sure what Scotland itself has in terms of an actual constitution, if any, because I think Ireland has something that's like that. They don't have a First Amendment, but I think they have some kind of written constitution. But I'm not a scholar in terms of European constitutional law. People on Twitter now hating on people in the UK, calling their country a joke. Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, it's a very. I don't really find it funny. It's really sad. It really is. Ireland. What are you talking about? Ireland isn't in the UK. Weird fucking chat. So yeah, I don't know. Scotland, like England, is part of the UK and as such has no constitution. Ireland is not part of the UK. Well, that's news to me. Ah, okay, it's Northern Ireland. That's what I'm confusing. Okay. Northern Ireland is in the UK. Ireland itself isn't. Okay. Okay. Because I was going to say, because I understand that there's the thing with Northern Ireland and like whatever the Republic of Ireland people are saying. I knew that there was a difference, but I thought at least some of it was in the UK. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for not being up to snuff on my history, although we're not. That's not really the point of the stream, but I'm glad to have that knowledge. I've been told that Northern Ireland is kind of fucking backwards. That's what I've been told. I know Tim Pool went there, and it looked kind of backwards, but not really the point. Is it as backwards as Scotland is currently? I don't really know. Are they convicting people of jokes in Northern Ireland? I don't think they are. But yeah, I haven't seen it. The reason I started this stream really is that the reason I started the stream is because I didn't see any streams currently going on. And I was hoping that there would be some kind of stream talking about this, and I was waiting for that to occur, but so far that hasn't happened. My hope is that they get later today, once he gets home, they need to get Dank on a stream and talk about this and see what they can do. Because maybe the difference is going to be that if they appeal this, which I imagine they're going to, regardless of the sentence, what they really need to do is hire a better attorney, because apparently this attorney is not doing their fucking job. I mean, obviously the judge was like an activist judge, but they need to hire a better attorney to represent Dankula in the appeal. I really do think that they need to find somebody that's better than this, because this to me, again, regardless of the judge, it's a joke of a case to lose. You should not be losing this fucking case. What do you think we British people should do? Emigrate to America? Pretty much. I mean, if that's your value set, if you value liberty, you probably should try to immigrate to the United States. Because at least in this country, you're not going to go to jail for making a joke. Ireland is apparently backwards on both sides. Okay. Yeah, but like I said, somebody said earlier, I don't think that this is going to change. I don't think that there's going to be enough of a pushback to steady your nation, to your nations, the UK in general. I don't think there's really enough to actually change this, because in the UK now, you have a conservative-led parliament. You have the Conservatives in charge, and this is happening under them. And as far as I can tell, barely anyone on the right in the UK that is a main figure gives a shit about any of this. Very few people know what's going on with Dankula, and even fewer give a shit. People are not being upset by what I said about Ireland. I just read the chat. Argue it out with people in the chat. Conservatives are neoliberals. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Well, the thing is that they're not. It's one element of being neoliberals, but what they really are is internationalists. I think there really is the debate or the division between the right or on the right now. I do believe that it is the difference between internationalist conservatives, or what would be called globalist conservatives, and nationalist conservatives. I think that is mainly the difference of the right. And I think it does. I do think that it is the same for either the United States or Europe. I do think it's the same. Maybe not every single nation in Europe, but as far as I can tell, at least in the UK, that is the difference. Yeah, I said it based on people are drifters apparently upset about what I said about Ireland. Okay, and now I just see endless people saying that I'm correct and saying that Ireland, regardless of where I'm talking about, is fucking backwards. So hash it out with the people in the chat, bro. According to more than just me, Ireland is fucking backwards. It's also not the point of this stream. I did see that Theresa May called herself a feminist. Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things that Sargon has endlessly talked about, is that one of the issues is that it's the issue is when you agree with your opposition's entire worldview. If you agree that equal outcome is the solution, it doesn't really matter what label you use. You still agree with that. You still agree with totalitarianism, with this kind of draconian shit, oppressing people because of what they think and what they say. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, there is a real problem in the UK right now, especially with conservatives, people on the right, you agree way too much with the far left. And I can't explain to you why that is. I don't have enough knowledge of your nations to explain why your right-wing representatives are basically out there parroting the exact same talking points of people of the far. I just said what the sentence was. He's guilty. It's pretty easy to see. Check out the name of this stream. He was convicted. He was convicted of being offensive. It's not funny, but it is really fucking ridiculous. It really is. But yeah. Sargon saying that I should have people join this stream, but I'm not really aware of anyone who's open to stream. Oh, apparently JonTron's talking about this. I'll retweet that. Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. I guess this is a big wake-up call for those of us in the United States to... I mean, Sargon already said it, and he says it routinely, is that this is why you don't allow hate speech laws to be created, and I agree. I mean, JonTron doesn't know who the fuck I am, so I don't think that's going to work. Invite JonTron. Get JonTron on. Bro, he don't know me. JonTron doesn't fucking know me, bro. I've talked to him. I think, what was it? Twice, maybe 3 times. I can recall twice, but that was even a while ago. Has been recently. The only person I know that's still in contact with him is Sargon. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the people that would be great to have on currently. They're not really following me, and they haven't really requested anything. So there's not really much I can do in that regard. And getting them on to talk about this, even though this is really big news. And so I guess I'll repeat it in case any of you have just recently joined. Count Dankula, who made a meme video of his dog watching Hitler videos and doing whatever else, other joking shit to make his girlfriend mad. He was convicted of being grossly offensive. After 2 years of a circle jerk by the courts in Scotland, he was convicted. And he's now awaiting sentencing, which is going to happen on the 23rd of April this year. Hopefully they get around to fucking telling how many, saying how many years he is potentially going to jail for. Because so far it could be up to 2 years. That is going to be, I've been told by people that are apparently in the know, it could be either 1 to 2 years of prison for a fucking YouTube meme. It really is something else, I have to say. It took 2 years. It took 2 years for them to convict him. They just kept kicking it out. They kept literally telling him to come back. There was one day, and I believe it was this year or late last year. There's one court date that he went to and he talked about where all it was the judge pontificating. Just literally the entire day, just endlessly virtue signaling. And ran out the clock. And so because of that, they had to extend it. They had to kick it to another day. And I'm not sure how long it was supposed to go for, but as far as I can tell, it was at least an hour. So an hour of, what would it be called? Not astroturfing. What is the term? It's a political term. Filibustering, where you filibuster the, what you're actually supposed to be doing, which is actually saying, what is this guy guilty of? And then convicting him or letting him go based on the evidence. Oh, people are telling me it was the judge. I don't know. I was told it was the judge. People are saying it was the prosecutor, but I was told it was the judge. And I believe I saw that when he talked about it. It was the judge that was virtue signaling. And that's how everyone knew that, it was rigged. Effectively, it was an activist judge. But I imagine the prosecution absolutely was as well. Because, again, what is the crime? What is he guilty of? What has he done? What precisely is he guilty of doing? What was the crime he committed against X person? And the answer is nothing. And that's why they have to filibuster. That's why they have to keep kicking it out of the court and having him come back for 2 years straight. It's because he literally didn't do anything. He did not infringe against anyone's rights. He did not commit a crime against the state. He did actively nothing. So it's a ridiculous charge to bring to begin with. But at the same time, it's even more ridiculous because he has then been convicted of that, of a non-crime, of offense. That is literally what he's been convicted of, being offensive. It's incredible. You know, it really is it's a black day for Scotland. It really is. It's unbelievable. It is totalitarian. You know, I'm not really sure, even if you are, I'm sure if people are more involved in Scottish politics and are more aware of what can be done, that, you know, there could be some measure, other than maybe, you know, the next time there's an election taking place in your district, you ask the nominees or the candidates that are up for election, you say to them, are you unequivocally in favor of free speech? You know, are you willing to pass a law saying that people shouldn't be convicted of being offensive? You know, do something, because it's unbelievable, the judges you currently got and the prosecutors you currently got in your country. We leave it to the private sector in the United States to be totalitarian, but apparently the state in Europe and especially in the UK are taking time out of their day to avoid prosecution of Muslim rapists and instead prosecuting people for making YouTube shit posts. You definitely need to get your priorities sorted. I don't want to talk about Jim. People talking about Jim. I don't want to talk about Jim. Let's see here. Bazinski says Super Chat blocks words like hate and the F word. I'm not aware of that. Maybe I can look into that, but I'm not really aware of that. So thanks, Bazinski, for the information. David Gee is the name of the judge. Are we sure about that? Are you sure about that? Let me. I'll read this article to see. Let's see if we can actually find the name of the judge. Apparently, he apologized in court for causing any offense. Apparently, fucking Meechin has picked up a lot of support from personalities in the alt-right, such as Infowars' Alex Jones. I didn't realize that Alex Jones was alt-right, but apparently everyone is fucking alt-right. If you're not a fucking... If you're not a bourgeois Marxist, you're a fucking alt-righter, apparently. So thanks Yahoo News. Who is this name of this? Who wrote this article? Who wrote this article? I can't see who wrote this article. Why doesn't it say who wrote this article? Obviously, you don't want to have your name on it. There's a reason why that is. But yeah, whoever wrote this article on Yahoo News, I hope you get raped by a Muslim. So my opinion is that I wouldn't even rape you, but I hope you get raped, and it's by specifically a Muslim. And oh man, that sounds offensive. Oh man, it sounds like I just went too far. Oh, you better fucking try to extradite me to Scotland for a joke that I'm making at the expense of a bourgeois leftist writer who basically is basically by proxy slandering Dankula for being alt-right when he is in fact, as far as I know, he is a leftist. I believe that Dankula actually just is a leftist. I've not seen anything that says that he is anything other than on the left. But yeah, just I guess I'm gonna get extradited to Scotland and convicted of being offensive towards that author because I said I hope to get raped by a Muslim. That sounds offensive. Disavow. Oh man. Oh, whoa! Holy shit, breaking news. PewDiePie just fucking retweeted JonTron. Wow. Wow. Hold on, let me look that up. Yes, he did. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh man, I'm gonna get hold on. I'm gonna send this to Sargon. I tell him in all caps, stream with PewDiePie and JonTron on this, bro. I just sent him over Skype. So yeah. Go to PewDiePie's Twitter handle, which is @PewDiePie. He just retweeted JonTron, who just tweeted that article out from Yahoo News. It's a dog shit fucking article, but it's acceptable, I suppose, for the fucking masses and the corporate overlords to all these fucking people. You know, I'll tell you this, if I ever got big, I know I'm not really talented enough, unlike, like PewDiePie or JonTron, to ever get really big. I don't really think I have that kind of talent, but if I ever got really big, and let's say I had corporate sponsors, I would have a clause in any fucking contract I would sign that says that I'm allowed to say whatever the fuck I want. Because I can guarantee you the reason why JonTron tweeted out this fucking dog shit Yahoo News article is because that's the only fucking outlet he can fucking tweet out. It's leftist enough that he can tweet it out. If he tweets out Fox News, he tweets out fucking Breitbart, alt-right fucking Breitbart or wherever else, boom, he gets fucking hit again. He gets hit again, and that's another fucking couple $1 million that he loses. Apparently, Sargon is currently trying to get people lined up for a stream, and that includes JonTron and PewDiePie. So I hope that happens. I hope that really does happen, because I think PewDiePie should talk about this, because this is fun. Because he's a comedian. PewDiePie is a comedian. This is what he does. And I can't quite remember where he lives. It might be in the UK. I can't quite remember. But, who's to say that he's not next for making a Hitler joke in his videos? Who's to say that he doesn't get convicted for one of his previous videos? There's nothing stopping that. Yes, he's apparently trying. There's no promise, because the thing is, PewDiePie's petrified. PewDiePie is petrified. He's petrified that this is going to happen to him. He's petrified that he's going to lose everything. He said nigger. Yep. PewDiePie said nigger in a stream. He's next. He's offensive. Convict him. He's offensive. Oh, PewDiePie agrees with the verdict. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. There, Inferno. You're out of your mind. I can tell you, just based on the fact that internal sources say that he is definitely not on board with this. He is definitely not a progressive. You got to watch some of his videos. Watch some of his videos, and you'll get an idea where he stands. And I know from internal sources that he is not a fucking progressive. He's responded to him? Hang on, we got breaking news. Yeah, Dankula is still tweeting currently. Oh, yeah, he responded. Oh, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. He's making a joke. I'm going to retweet that. PewDiePie says, honestly agree with his verdict, especially since it was a Nazi-related joke. That's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. It's a joke. Take a guess if he actually agrees with it. So yeah, this is oh god, this is so terrible. I can't believe it that there's still so few people actually talking about this. But yeah, I really hope that this gets out there. Oh, apparently Jonathan Pye has tweeted about it. I'm going to link this to Sargon. That's good on Jonathan Pye. He's been kind of returning to his regressive roots, unfortunately, recently. So I'll send that to Sargon. Yeah, this really does this needs to go mainstream. This really does. This needs to go out there, and this needs to be mainstream because this is an unbelievable. This is, like I said, this is a dark day, and this is a precedence that's been set. That if you are, a Scottish citizen, a UK citizen, you can be convicted of making a joke on YouTube and have no one be offended. Yeah, and the thing is that again, like, what's to stop what's to stop the UK government and the UK courts from going after PewDiePie for an old video? What's to stop? What's to stop them from doing the exact same thing to somebody else who lives in the UK? Like I said, if you are a political dissident, if you give a shit about free speech, now is the time to stand up and preach what you have to say and stand by what liberal values should actually be. But if you are afraid that you too are going to be sent to prison because you made a fucking joke, you have to come to the United States because, as far as I can tell, you can't even go to Canada. They're compelling people. They passed that law. They're compelling people. You have to come to the United States. It is in essence the last bastion of free speech. And I don't say that again as a dick wagging move. I'm just saying that, look what's happening in fucking Europe currently. Like, if you don't come here, where the fuck are you gonna go? Yeah, Bill C16 is now the law in Canada. They passed that. They passed that law. So you need to come to the United States. Oh, you come to the United States or stand up about it. Ricky Gervais just tweeted about that. Let me look that up. Ricky Gervais. Let me find that. I don't see that. He hasn't tweeted anything. Okay. Okay, yeah, he actually did an hour ago. Okay, I'll retweet that. Wow, dude, he's getting ratioed. He's getting fucking ratioed. Wow, dude. Are you telling me there's enough fucking regressive dipshits that followed this guy that he's getting fucking ratioed? Wow, dude. That says a fucking lot about this world, that this guy's getting ratioed of people that disagree. Fucking rags sending me garbage. Oh, God. Well, let's go. I mean, this is the thing. Like, if you're a fucking comedian, you're next. People are asking what ratioed is. Ratioed is basically where, like, let's say you tweet something out that a lot of people disagree with. Well, instead of having a lot of retweets and a lot of favorites, you have a lot of comments left to this. Usually when people disagree with you. That's what ratioed means. I have to find the original tweet to see if that was actually what occurred, but it's absolutely insane if that's what happened. Okay, yeah, he put out a tweet. This is a better tweet. Okay, yeah. So apparently he wasn't. Most people apparently support it. It seems like. Well, there's apparently people that agree. There's the people that agree that he should have been convicted. Apparently. Wow. Apparently fucking Mike Staunchberry, who's that fucking faggot on Twitter, is mocking it. I mean, this is the kind of short-sightedness of the regressive left. Like, you think that eventually the tools that are used to oppress people that you consider to be on the right, which like it's people that aren't on the far left, that's who you're trying to oppress with these draconian fucking measures. You better hope that the tables are never turned. You better hope the tables are never turned, because what you're doing is setting yourself up to be oppressed yourself, because you're literally stripping down society of the protections that protect everyone, the politics and the speech of everyone. You better hope that the tables never turned against you, because you are literally mocking somebody for being convicted of a joke, and you don't care. You actively support this decision. I hope that this goes mainstream. You know, I'm glad that Ricky Gervais, PewDiePie, John Tron are talking about this. And I hope that this is taken seriously and that they sign up to do a stream with Sargon. I hope he can get them to do a stream about it, because this is very serious. Let's see. Hold on, I got some super chats I gotta get to. If they tried this in the U.S., they would be shot. I don't know about that. PewDiePie agrees with the verdict. You are incorrect info. The reason why it wouldn't go mainstream is that this can easily be spun as being a Nazi sympathizer. Well, that's cowardice on the part of the people who wouldn't say something because it's just a joke by a comedian. Is Sargon going to picket outside the Capitol? Sargon is apparently in the process of doing something. I think he's like away from home with his kid or something. But he's apparently trying to get in contact with the people in question so that they can do something. Like I said, this is still fairly breaking. Hold on, let me say Ricky Gervais and others have tweeted about it. Apparently, he is going to do something in real life. So apparently, Sargon is in the process of he is doing something that's going to be basically protesting. So Sargon is on it, and he is trying to do something. And I'll link him this tweet by Ricky Gervais so he can see that. But like I say, you know, this is a dark day for any comedian. You got to stand to account. You know, you have to pick a side of whether you're on the side of the totalitarian courts that are convicting people of fucking jokes, or, you know, you're on the side of fucking free speech and liberal principle and liberty just generally. You know, not even as a principle, just liberty in general. Because if you don't have free speech in your country, you may as well live in fucking China. You may as well be a Cuban citizen at this fucking point, if you can be convicted for making jokes. You know, it doesn't matter. And I talked to Sargon in that stream the other day about this, where I said that there needs to be more nations in this on this planet that have access to firearms, that have liberty in terms of firearm ownership. I do believe that, because I think that if you have an armed population, that it prevents the state from going this route and becoming so draconian and totalitarian that they start throwing comedians in jail for jokes they don't like when no one is actually offended. I do think that firearms make a difference, and I'm glad that in the United States we do have the Second Amendment as it is. As sloppy as the court case was that did that, in establishing it as an individual right, I do think that more and more that was the right rendering of the Supreme Court, that it is incredibly important that we have the right to firearm ownership, so that the United States, because the United States government, again, it's not the United States government that's going after people and that's totalitarian in the way that you'd see in Europe. It's the fucking corporations that are like this in the United States. It's the corporations that are censoring people and going after people and doxing them and harassing them. You know, it's the corporations doing that in the United States. But in Europe, it's the fucking governments. Your governments are out of control. They're totalitarian. They're prosecuting innocent people that are guilty of nothing. They're guilty of being offensive towards no one. They need to sort some shit out. A National Socialist Party. I mean, I guess so. I guess that's what you can be considered their black drop in the UK, or in Scotland more specifically, a National Socialist Party. Don't really have a problem with the nationalist part, but the socialist part seems to be, you know, a little bit bad for them. Seems to be polluting their minds a little bit much. Oh, man. Oh, hold on. Somebody is saying... don't disagree that it makes them a coward to not push the issue. You have to remember the majority of people are cowards. Well, this is the thing. Like, it's not like you can be a coward and still pull the correct lever in the voting booth. I mean, you guys elected this government. You elected the people that did this. Are judges not elected? Is it different are they appointed in Scotland? Because in the United States, they're elected. And yeah, there's tons of shitty activist judges in the United States, but right now they're in California basically trying to give non-citizens citizenship. At least they're not fucking convicting people of jokes. Scotland, like the SNP as they're called, they're so nationalist that they want to be part of the EU. That's how nationalist they are. They're fucking internationalists. They're not really a nationalist party. They're an internationalist party. The only nationalist element of them, they don't like the UK because they're not fucking leftist enough. You know, they have a Tory fucking majority in their parliaments. That's the fucking difference. They're not far left enough. That's the only thing they're nationalist about. But otherwise, they want to join the EU. Judges are appointed. I don't really know how much of a difference it makes because you can elect some fucking lunatic judges in the... But anyways, Joe Rogan retweeted it. I'm going to find that. Joe Rogan. Let me find that. Come on, I spelled that correctly. There it is. Okay. Let me see. Hey, Joe Rogan, did you hear about this? It's insane. A dude is going to jail in the UK for a joke. So yeah, he retweeted that. It's just a retweet, though. I like to see a statement from Joe. That'd be nice. So, unfortunately, with Joe Rogan so far, it's just a retweet so far. He should talk about this on his podcast because it is pretty fucking crazy. You should have somebody on to talk about it because it's pretty crazy. It's pretty funny now. The meme is starting up that the pug needs to be put on trial too. Yeah, again, there's girls being raped by Muslims, and it's like no one cares, but somebody makes a fucking joke, and we need to send that person to jail for multiple years. Got your priorities real straight in Europe right now. Any other famous people tweeting about this? Because I'll retweet them if people see it. Yeah, I already retweeted Dave Rubin. The only other news that I have for today is that there's apparently some lunatic fucking Marxist running. Apparently, I'm not sure just yet because there's some woman running against Andrew Cuomo or plans to in the Democratic primary in the next election for New York State. And she's supported, at least, by lunatic Marxists. I have to look into that. Yeah, I know. Ricky Gervais is making tweets. Is there anybody else that's really famous that's tweeting this? Not sure what that was. Jordan Peterson should comment on this. He should fucking go over there and hold a rally with the guy, because it's the same kind of thing. Instead of compelled speech, it's now being convicted of literally making a joke at the expense of your girlfriend to make her mad. I'm still amazed that I'm like one of the only people that's streaming on this. But yeah, if there's any more famous people, Peterson would be detained at the airport. He probably would. After that fucking interview that he had with what's her face from Channel 4. He probably would be detained. There's an article that I have saved that I need to read where she's still like, she's done multiple interviews where all she does is play the victim complaining about that interview. So I'm going through Ben Shapiro apparently did a retweet. Ben Shapiro. Okay, retweeted Ricky Gervais. Jokes are speech, and apparently so is money. You should have free speech the judge to render in his favor. I think that was a mistake that he made. Notch retweeted. I'll look that up. I saw him saying something to somebody, so it's not surprising that Notch would have something to say about this, because he's obviously on the side. Yeah, he retweeted John Tron. Okay, yeah, Notch replied to John Tron and said that it's a Nazi-based practical joke, not just any joke. It's nowhere near something you should go to jail for, but hiding the fact that there's some legal precedent already, I feel it makes it easier for people to find angles and to voices of reasons. Hate speech is an established term that people have heard. People have been conditioned to punch Nazis. You give assholes an out if you first let them tell themselves it was about a knock-knock joke. People freak out over stuff like this and want to find excuses to think it's normal. It's having a special name, and it's having legal precedent matters, because if people don't know that up front, they will feel like you tricked them into feeling a certain way. Yeah, people saying the government's acting like a bunch of Nazis. Not Nazis, more like communists. And already retweeted that. Thank you for the person on Twitter who sent me that from John Tron, but I've already seen it. So yeah, I'm hoping that there's going to be a decent number of people that actually talk about this, do a video on this. I'm not really sure what I can say other than what I've said already in any kind of video, other than to say that it's an outrage and should not have happened and is utterly ridiculous, as I'm saying here. But I'm not really sure what can be said. It's just something that any person that values comedy, especially comedians, should have something to say about this. Apparently, Undoomed is mocking them for being national socialists. Styx, Hexenhammer is tweeting at Donald Trump saying that they should declare Dankula a political prisoner and begin accepting British citizens who have been attacked, abused, and ridiculed for mere political beliefs, or in this case, wrong think jokes. I agree. I mean, that's what I've said as well. I think that we need to start accepting what is effectively political refugees from the UK. Because, like I said, I don't see this going in any other direction other than the direction that it's currently on. I don't see the path where the UK is not going to become increasingly more totalitarian than it already is. I do think that people should be accepted from the UK as political prisoners and given political asylum. At a minimum, with asylum, you can eventually go back, I think. But currently, or I guess maybe that's refugee status. Well, you could be a political refugee. But yeah, this I do agree with Styx. I do think that they should do this, and I've said this for a while now. This is not the first time I said it. I've been saying this for quite a while now. The United States should be opening up some kind of system by which to bring in basically dissident British political prisoners that are likely to face jail time for just not agreeing with the status quo in the UK. The only thing that I ask is you don't bring this shit with you. If you're going to come to the United States, don't bring this shit with you. So anyone who's out there who's like a globalist / internationalist / socialist who is being persecuted, you can stay there. You can stay there. But anyone who's actually, an individualist, stands by liberal principles, is being persecuted by their state for literally nothing, and you actually hold to those principles, you should be welcomed in. The people that we should accept should be means tested for if they actually stand by liberal principles. And I do think that in general, I think that that needs to be in effect when it comes to our immigration or refugee or whatever process. If we're going to allow you into this country, you should have to at least accept the values by which that this country already operates. And if you come in saying like, oh, no, I think that there should be limitations on speech in this way and that way and blah, 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 should be like, all right, thanks, fine, go to Canada, go to Sweden, go somewhere else, don't come here, because there's already enough we already have enough problems in our own country with fucking lunatic Marxists. We need more people in the United States that actually abide by a liberal principle, because that was the foundation of this nation, and I do not think that should change, and not for anything, in my opinion. I don't think it should change for fucking anything. We've gotten this far in the world by actually holding to these principles, and we're still, in my opinion, the greatest nation in the world. The first, one of the first ways that you can see Europe and especially the UK going in the wrong direction and likely going in the direction of self-destruction is this kind of precedence that's being set. This is you undermining your own society. You are literally destroying your own nations. You are social Venezuela. I mean, why don't you just start seizing property? You're already totalitarian. Why not just go the full way? Just start seizing property, jailing people for being dissidents. Just do it. You're a half step away from being at that point. And I said that I shit talked on Skype earlier and on Twitter that, when Trump said shithole nations, I think he forgot to include Europe at this point because they are the social Venezuela. Any more famous people tweeting about this? I like to see that we have more people that are incredibly famous talking about this because, again, especially with comedians, every fucking comedian on the planet should be tweeting about this, talking about this, doing an interview about this, writing an op-ed about this. They should be talking about this because this is make or break in Europe right now. Exactly what's next? Something like this pops up in America. Well, I don't think it could ever happen in the United States. I don't think that this kind of measure could ever happen in the United States because thankfully the Supreme Court has over and over and over again recommitted to absolute free speech. The limited exceptions that exist to the U.S. to the First Amendment and the Bill of Rights, it's very, very, very limited in terms of what can actually be called, something other than free speech. Like the whole, like people constantly say like the incitement or, what is it? Yelling fire in a crowded theater. Even that is not even a precedence anymore. That's not a precedence that can be upheld by a court. That'll get knocked down. I forgot what the case is, but there was a similar case that went before the Supreme Court in terms of whatever that would be considered incitement, and that was knocked down. It was pushed away, so the person was freed of that conviction. It was nullified. So the only one that I've seen that people consider to be any kind of precedence against against free speech is obscenity, and obscenity is a joke. Read the case law; it's a joke. There is no obscenity standard. The only obscenity standard that could have been set was I have the link saved, so give me a second and I'll find the case. Ooh, I think it was this right here. Let's see here. Yes, okay. So this was set in, when was this? The case is Ashcroft versus Free Speech Coalition, and this went before the Supreme Court, and this was the judgment was April 16th of 2002. And so what this was a law that was set up prohibiting any material that could be considered basically digital child pornography, so lolicon. This law prohibited it, and this law went before the Supreme Court, and the appeal, as far as I understand it, because I've skimmed through it, is obscenity. And that's what I think even Antonin Scalia, he rejected this. He was actually in the dissent, and he, I believe, cited obscenity, and I believe the dissenters actually ruled and in terms of dissent, and that was their judgment. But the majority opinion was in favor of knocking down the law. And so with this judgment, there really is no obscenity standard. There is no obscenity standard in the United States. People, I've seen, even if you listen back to Antonin Scalia, when he's on the court, he talks about it all the fucking time. But there's not really a standard. There really isn't a standard. So in the United States, as far as I know the laws, we have as close to absolute free speech as any nation in the world. Because even digital child pornography, which is the most extreme, this is ever so offensive shit, even in that case, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of access to that art. So it doesn't matter. We have as close as there is to absolute free speech in this country. So if there's any country to come to, if you are a comedian, if you are a free speech absolutist, if you are somebody with an opinion and something to say, if you are someone who's involved in politics, if you're an activist, come here, unless you are a Marxist, a socialist, an internationalist, somebody who's against free speech and is an authoritarian, dogmatic, far leftist, then in which case don't come here. Or an Islamist, don't come here. Don't come here. Go to Sweden, go to Canada, go somewhere else, don't come here. Because we don't need you here. We got enough fucking retards in this country. We don't need more of them. We need more people standing by what this country was founded on. Let's see here. Every day is 1984 in the UK, yeah. Yeah, okay, that's the same thing. Oh, man. If you're a sensible human that isn't a dirty fucking commie, come to America. Pretty much. Like, if you're not a bourgeois leftist and you're consumed by your bourgeois social norms, come to America. If you are a bourgeois leftist consumed by your bourgeois social norms, and I agree, stay the fuck out. Stay out of this country. You're not welcome here. He's currently He's facing a sentence of a possible 2 years. So if he's already been convicted, and on April 23rd he has to go before the judge for sentencing, and he could be sentenced for up to 2 years in prison for making a joke. So yes, a sad day for all. But yeah, if there's if anyone has anything else that they need to include for this stream, please let me know now, because if there's nothing else, I might just break it off, because I only want to go so far. And I am aware of the 500 people that are currently in the stream, but there's only so much that can be said about this, at least for now, until we have more information, until we know what can be done to try to prevent Dankula from going to jail for 2 years for a fucking joke. Yeah, 2 years is the maximum sentence. So if you have any other tweets by famous people, any other breaking news, anything else, please let me know. Somebody said that the Drudge Report tweeted this out. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, it was actually tweeted out by Drudge. I will retweet that as well. Oh wow, it was actually tweeted out twice. I won't. I'm gonna undo this retweet from the fucking Daily Beast, because fuck the Daily Beast. I'll retweet the InfoWars article. Is this by Paul Joseph Watson? Let's take a look. Yeah, it is done by Paul Joseph Watson. So Paul Joseph Watson has a piece up. If you're unfamiliar with what's going on, the article is YouTuber, and I guess I'll try to link this in the chat, even though links appear to be broken. Paul Joseph Watson wrote an article for InfoWars talking about what has happened here. So if you need to read it up, you can go to InfoWars and check it out. See, page not found. I don't know what's wrong with the links. I just literally copied and pasted it from my browser, so I'm not sure what's wrong with linking shit. Yeah, let me delete that. Sorry, but I'll post it in the sources for this video. So let me I'll do that right now while we're still streaming. But yeah, I have a couple people messaging me. So yeah, if you have anything else, send it my way, tweet it at me, put it in a super chat. Is it okay to say bomb Scotland? They're white. It's up to you, CJ. I'm not really sure that's going to make a difference. Bomb them with something. Bomb them with John Locke or something. Bomb them with some information to remind them of what their principles should be as a nation in the West. Bomb them with a Sargon video or something, because Jesus Christ. How much more fucking regressive can you get as a nation than to fucking convict a guy of a joke? Doesn't get more totalitarian than that when you can't even make a joke. All right, let me check YouTube. Somebody sent me something. Where the fuck? I don't even know. My phone went off, so I'm not really sure. It looks like Alex Jones has Alex Jones is apparently doing a segment on it right now.
Twitter's worse, by the way, than Facebook and censorship. Then what is that? Because you're not just not letting me have access to the marketplace, you're discriminating against me while you let other people bully me, and then you turn around and say you're a bully. David Hogg went on TV and said he's
I don't care, Alex. You're not talking about the issue. You're talking about fucking David Hogg. It can't be a hate crime if they're white. But that's true. That's true, CJ. It's not a hate crime if they're white. Apparently, Shuan had just tweeted it out. So I'll retweet that. Let me see this. Jeremy from Unsleeved Media just sent this out. Oh, okay. It's just a joke. All right. I know who Notch is. I saw him already. Frank, I've already asked if people are available, and they're not currently. Sargon is planning on doing a stream later on to talk about this, and he's saying that he's going to try to do something activist-y in response to this, but he's working on it currently. I think he's away from home at the moment, so he can't do it. But I'm sure that once he gets back, while I'm back out and working, that he will then move on and talk about this the same. So I'm gonna ask if anyone else has anything. You reminded me, how progressive is Shion Head? I can't really speak to that. Shion Head definitely, I would say, is like progressive light based on what I've seen. I've seen her arguing with people that I know actively dislike me, that consider me to be like far right or whatever. I had somebody send me like some bullshit on Twitter that was somebody that she communicates with, and it's like she agrees with them, and it's like, I know it's an agreement by proxy, but as far as I can tell, she's like progressive light, unfortunately, and I think that's a mistake on her part. Tiki torches and khakis, yeah, sure. I've seen a couple people in the chat talking shit about the liberalist thing, but it's like, exactly what are you going to do about it? Sargon holds an event about this, or does some kind of activism about this in real life. Like, I'm not really sure like what your talking shit is actively going to do in comparison to what he's going to try to do. Because unfortunately, I'm a whole world away from that, so there's not a whole lot that I could actively do. But in his case, he can actually show up and do something. The best that I can do is basically hold this stream and try to donate to, some kind of legal fund. And what are my thoughts on David Pakman? What about him? Oh, okay. You're being well. There was somebody earlier, their hotshot, that was being serious earlier. So yeah, I think it's. I think that in terms of like actual in real life activism, that it's incredibly important right now for that to be the case, that that's possible and somebody's doing it. Because the thing is with Sargon, and especially with the whole liberalist thing, if it's not him, then who? You know what I mean? Like, is what's his face identitarian dipshit that people are sending me messages about? Like, I'm being too quick into condemning him as a white nationalist or a white identitarian. It's like, yeah, I don't see him showing up and able to actually do anything about it. He's getting fucking deported. So even if he wants to do something, he can't. So if it's not Sargon, then please inform me as to who's going to do it, because I think Tybee Robinson, eventually they're going to get him. Tybee Robinson's out there doing something, but it's just a matter of time before they get him on some other bullshit and send him to jail for the rest of his life. Do I extend the political asylum to all European nations? Well, I mean, I suppose, but again, we have to come up with some kind of strict definition of who's going to be allowed in, and it's based on what they actively believe. I don't think that we need to let in people that actively are going to basically do what they did in Europe to the United States. I think they can stay in Europe and enjoy the hellhole they created. But the people that actually want to live in a free nation, that actually value liberty, I think they need to be let into the United States and given asylum, because because Europe is effectively turning into a socially communist nation. I know that sounds stupid or whatever, but that's effectively what they're doing. It's like Scotland has taken a big step in the direction of totalitarianism. Because if you can convict and jail a comedian for making a joke, what won't you do? Who else won't you convict for a thought crime. You know, it really is a precedent that's being set that is incredibly dangerous. Oh, apparently there's a petition. When was this created? Create a Freedom of Speech Act and bring an end to hate speech laws. For several years now, the government has been infringing people's most basic rights to speak freely on matters by deeming their speech offensive or hateful and declaring that such speech, even online, warrants being fined or jailed. This is an outrage. We demand the legal right to free speech in an act which will bring an end to the ludicrous notion that hate speech and offensive speech deserves people be imprisoned or charged. In short, an act to codify the citizens' right to freedom of speech without government intervention. Ideas must be fought with other ideas, not with force. Naturally, this precludes the current laws criminalizing hate speech be rescinded. Apparently, this is a petition. I'm not sure when it was created. But if you are a citizen of the UK, you should probably sign this petition. And what I will do is I will link that petition in this video so that you will have the opportunity to go over there and do that. So I'll put this in the body of the video. So if you'd like to, you can head on over to UK Parliament's website and sign that petition. It's currently at 23,500 signatures, and I believe it needs to reach 100,000 in order to be considered for debate in Parliament. And I definitely hope that. Oh wow, there's a deadline for April 30th. So you better head on over there and take care of that quick. I put it in chat, but I already know the link's going to get broken. So sorry, can't do that. But it's in the body of this video now. So if you'd like to, you can go on over and put your signature on that. Put your John Hancock on that. Put your Herbie Hancock on that. And try to prevent your nation from slipping into fucking totalitarian shit. Actually, where was that? I'll Paul Joseph Watson retweeted it, and I'll do the same. So hopefully, yeah, that can... Hopefully, because I mean, it is something that is worthy of being debated in Parliament, especially now after somebody's been fucking convicted of a joke. Can't get any more serious than that. The only way that this can get more serious is that he gets the maximum sentence. That's when we know that this is like Europe has reached a new fucking low. That's when we know. Is if he actually gets sentenced to prison for this. I don't think it gets any worse. I really don't think this that the situation can get any worse if that happens. But yeah, still unfortunately not enough people, in my opinion, tweeting about this. Apparently, I Hate Everything just tweeted about it, so I'll retweet that. Tommy Robinson retweeted him. So at least there are a decent number of famous people that are on it. But I'm hoping that Sargon. He said he apparently contacted John Tron and PewDiePie, and I hope he does follow through with that and try to see if he can convince them to do a stream with him. Because I think at this point it's definitely necessary. Because I think a lot of famous people need to speak out about this to kind of force the issue, because not enough did in the first place. If enough people spoke about this and declared it the outrage that it actually is, I don't think that the judge would have convicted him. I think that if enough people spoke out against this and threatened to make this a serious activist issue, it would have gone away and he would have been let go. But because that didn't happen the first time around, now you have a guy that's been convicted of a fucking non-crime. He's been convicted of being offensive. And that's not a fucking crime. Who's it against? Who the fuck is the crime against? That's what I'd like to know. Who the fuck is this crime against? Is it is the dog? Is it the girlfriend? Who did he commit a crime against in this situation? It's really ridiculous. It's an absurd conviction or ruling, I should say. It really is. It's absurd. It makes no sense. You can post the link. Just tell the chat to delete the trailing characters. It includes blah, 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 blah. Delete those characters after clicking to make it work. I appreciate that information. But like I said, it's already in the body. Too many single mothers. Oh, we got a super chat I missed. If nothing changes, eventually a modern day Robespierre will emerge. There will be a revolution, and it will be bloody and violent. I mean, I don't even know. You know, I would hope that it wouldn't come to that, but unfortunately, like things like I said are so draconian at this point where you effectively live in a totalitarian nation. I'm surprised my Bunty King just liked one of my retweets. I'm surprised my phone didn't go off. Actually, I'll take a look at Bunty King's Twitter, see what he has to say. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I already retweeted him. He's one of the first people that actually commented about this. Yeah, I'll see. I'll try to think of when I can, if I can come up with anything to actually do a full video on to talk about this, maybe. But I think that in this situation, I could probably just leave it to other people to make a video. Maybe this stream for me will suffice, and if I have time, I can maybe go on somebody else's stream to talk about this a little bit more. Unfortunately, I'm not enough of an expert in Europe, in the UK, in European law to really know all that much what I'm talking about. But I can actually cite decent sources for at least the United States Supreme Court to at least say the precedence that's been set in the United States, and that we effectively do have absolute free speech with very, very, very limited, limitations as to what isn't. It's incredibly limited in terms of what is actually plausible to not be free speech in this country. Yeah, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I gotta head back to work shortly. I have to actually look up where my next case is. I know it's like a half hour away, I think, maybe a little bit more. And so I gotta go for now. I appreciate everyone for stopping by, and be sure to do what you can to support Dankula in this moment and speak out in favor of free speech and the ability to make jokes, because we are in real time watching our rights being stripped away from us for the sake of the bourgeois social norms of totalitarian retards. But otherwise, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to take off, and there are probably going to be more streams and more about that soon. Somebody asks, will you have enough time to join Sargon stream? That depends when he does it, if he's going to. Like I said, I'm not sure what's going on with him currently, but he's away. But yeah, I'll be free later on today, but I'll be busy for the next few hours. And if there's anything else that goes on, I'll try to do what I can to support Dankula for as much as to the degree that I can. I'll do what I can. So appreciate everyone for stopping by. Keep your eyes open for another stream. And like I said, keep talking about this. Keep standing up for liberal principles. Keep standing up for the rights of Dankula. And hopefully we can offer him shelter in the United States, because otherwise he lives in a fucking totalitarian shithole nation known as Scotland. All right. Hope to see you guys later.